sister's a therapist and I tell jokes. We both want to help all kinds of folks.
Hello, and welcome to My Sister's a Therapist, the amazingly named podcast between myself, comedian Virginia Jones, and my sister Laura Ryan, who is a therapist.
Hello, I'm Laura Ryan, licensed marriage and family therapist and sister to Virginia Jones, stand-up comedian.
A thing about me is that I'm obsessed with free little libraries. And on my morning walk, there's 2 or 3. There's one that I used to be really into, but it has been vandalized and has never returned. So I check them out. Sometimes I pick something up, sometimes I don't. During pandemonium times, happy 4th anniversary for that, I read about 30 books out of free little libraries.
Even though they were covered in COVID?
I would put them in autoclave for just a day and a half to make sure all the COVID was stripped from them.
That was smart.
I would also read them in gloves, a mask, and also the clear plastic mask that goes over.
Yeah, you have to cover your eyes because you don't want to get eye COVID.
So I picked up a book in the free little library written by my extremely casual comedy acquaintance, Greg Behrendt. And you might say, Virginia, how well do you know Greg Behrendt? Well, we have done 2 shows together. And one time I told him a story in which I was making fun of deceased T-Rex singer Mark Bolan because I had met his son, Roland Bolan. And I said, isn't it ridiculous when celebrities give their kids weird names? And he said, my daughters are named Mighty and True.
Ouch.
And they are. So
that didn't land quite the way.
That didn't land. I guess research a celebrities' kids' names before you
start mocking him.
Talk stuff
openly.
About it. Yeah. But he's really funny and really great. And his big, social moment was in 2004. He was writing for Sex and the City, and all the stories in Sex and the City, all the storylines are based on experiences that these women really had. Everything comes from something. And in the writer's room, these women were also talking and obsessing about men they were seeing or wanted to see or thought about seeing. And Greg said he legitimately did not know that we talked about it that much and thought about it that much because he's like, men don't. Oh, we know. We know men don't.
Yeah, we know you don't think about us or talk about us ever.
So he and one of his writing companions on Sex and the City, Liz Tucillo, they wrote a book called He's Just Not That Into You. So this is my 20 years later review of this book.
Being timely, I like that.
If you were alive in 2004, if you were breathing air, you are aware of this book or the concept of this book. It came out kind of around the same time as The Rules, where you have to reprogram and be very dishonest. I mean, it could be also called The Game, where
it could be called avoidant dating, because that's basically what
you're cosplaying an emotionally avoidant person. But this book was so big that in 2009, they made a rom-com out of it, which I never saw, but sounds very weird.
Who was in it?
Jennifer Connelly, a little lady named Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Aniston, so both Jennifers, Scarlett Johansson, and Justin Long, who was the Macintosh in the Macintosh versus...
Okay, you know what? I think I have seen this fine film. It's all coming back.
Bradley Coops. In this portion, I'm just going to give a book report of this book, and then we can talk about what is still cogent, what's weird. There's a TikTok theme of if he wanted to, he would. And it's very much on those lines. If he says he can't come up because he has a business meeting in the morning, he is just not that into you, because if he was, he would come up to your apartment even if he was being inaugurated for president. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're making overtures and he says he doesn't want to ruin your friendship, he's not that into you, because men are always down to ruin a friendship if it's someone they really like.
In my experience, 100% accurate.
Yeah, most of our experiences has been men trying to ruin friendships. If we accept that men make excuses and kind of BS women, if we scratch the surface of that, why is it? It's because if a woman approaches you, or if you turn down sex with her, that's not acceptable. You're not a man if you're not accepting all and any sex available to you at any time.
Right.
And then why do women accept these lame excuses? Oh, he's just really busy at work, or his toe hurts, or his mom needs something. That is because we have been told the most important part of our lives is being with a man, and that being in a bad relationship is better than being in no relationship, which I think we're questioning now.
I'm definitely questioning it. I have learned that being in a bad relationship takes up so much energy and time, and it's so dysregulating to my body. I would much rather I've decided, I'm not going to be in relationships with men anymore. It's too much effort for very little payoff.
What we have talked about between the two of us is it kind of changes your personality. Like when you are always trying to contort yourself into the person that he will love or that he will treat well, or trying to avoid, putting the knives in the butcher block wrong so you don't get yelled at.
That sounds specific.
I just made it up just now. It kind of compresses your personality, and you have to be back out of that before you can kind of find your way again.
And I also think another piece is the idea that I have to figure him out, expending all of my resources and energy trying to figure out why he is behaving the way that he behaves.
And there's this also kind of fiction that we are given related to that, which is if a man doesn't like you or doesn't like you enough and has seen you, been exposed to you, spoken to you, maybe had sex with you, you can change his mind. Women are fed this line that if you just stand the right way and put your hand on your hip like this, or wear the right perfume, or have the right dress on, something that really snatches the waist. If you do the right stuff in bed, if you cook the right stuff, you can change a man's mind into really, really digging you.
Well, yeah, you can force him to love you.
Yes. As the great Bonnie Raitt said, I can't make you love me if you won't. This powerful idea that women's behavior can make a man do something or change or anything is what the whole fashion industry and the bridal and perfume industries and the diet industry all thrive on.
Makeup, moisturizers, anything to do with skin.
Nails, shoes. If we spend enough money, the man you want will want you back. And I got to say, in my experience, no amount of Jean Natte's body splash is going to change that.
But possibly, if you get enough Teen Spirit underarm deodorant going, I think you can turn the tide.
Right. So I think that's an idea we also don't want to accept. The crux of the book, after he says, ditch that zero 100 times, is that he does say, accept that being by yourself is better than being with a guy who doesn't dig you fantastically. You can't be with a guy who doesn't like you, because that is blocking you off from meeting the guy who might really like you, right? Who might be ready to have an actual relationship, an actual fulfilling adult relationship with you. But even if you don't find that guy, it's better to be alone.
It's better to be alone than to be with someone who's settling for you.
I think that very idea is very ahead of its time. I think it's very prescient. I think in 2004, women were not NOT ready to hear it. But I will tell you this, in my experience, if you accept that you cannot change a man, the man you meet is the man he's going to be, and that being alone is better than being in a relationship that drains you, saps your resources, your life will improve.
I mean, that's a Buddhist idea, right? Acceptance is the key to all my problems today. So accepting the person in front of me is the person who will always be this. He's always going to feel this way about me. He's always going to have these tendencies. That's him.
I think we get told a lot, like, it's intimated. If he's so close to being perfect, but all he needs, if he just had more direction in his career, or if he just, was more socially adept, or if he learned how to, he could learn how to polka dance, but you can't teach him to love polka dancing.
Well, and I think you and I had a front row seat to this my whole childhood. It was a woman breaking her back trying to twist this man into being a normal, healthy person who actually loved her.
Right. Some sort of an equal partner in life and child rearing, and it just wasn't.
So that message, seeped in.
So some of the funny, not timely parts of the book, the time travel parts, he talks a lot about phone calls. He's like, if this dude isn't calling you 3-4 times a day, it's not it.
If you're not getting on the horn on the daily with this man.
And he talks about sending romantic emails, which I frankly miss.
Well, there was a lot of lead time on it. You could really get all the thoughts in there.
And I was good. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn. I was good at that.
I mean, I had a relationship for 2 years that was mostly email. So,
right. It's also interesting to think that this book was written not before internet dating, because certainly it existed, but before the swipe and tap was the dominant dating method.
Right. It was when people actually had to make an effort to meet each other and talk to each other.
And it wasn't the main way you met people. Like you would meet people in life doing things. And I was wondering, do you think that this aspect, especially post-lockdown, happy 4th anniversary, is part of what has led people to stay home more? Because you're not going to go to a party and meet a person. You're not going to meet a person at a grocery store. Like it feels dangerous to take a chance on just a random stranger who you don't know if he's a polygamist or what.
Well, right. You have to vet them first. I remember sitting in a gay bar and I saw this table of young men not speaking to each other, not speaking to anyone else, but just on their Grindr accounts, swiping like their life depended on it.
Speaking of that kind of individual, a related idea is don't interpret the things that men do necessarily as meaning that they're into you when it's not consistent with the rest of their behavior. Like I was talking with a male friend about a guy he had been madly crushed out on. And this person, he introduced him to his parents. And then later the guy was like, oh, we're just like casual. We're just like, sex friends. I met your mom.
Yeah, because my mom was making me dinner that night.
Right.
And I didn't have a date. So here we are.
It felt sensible to introduce you to my mom. It doesn't mean like you can't assume that these things mean something. I had a friend who had a very toxic relationship with a guy for 2-3 years. And one morning, friends were having brunch and they appeared together and she was so excited and Twitter pated. And she was like, he's never seen in public with me. This means something.
It means he likes pancakes.
And yeah, it meant he was hungry. Another friend of mine, she had this guy that she had met on Hinge. And when they first met, he really was love bombing her and saying like, I can't believe how perfect you are for me. We have everything in common. This is fate. This feels so amazing. I'm so looking forward to getting to know you better. And then he disappeared for a while. And when he came back, he started again and said, I'm sorry, I was so busy, but you're so wonderful. We're going to reschedule this date. And I mean it. And this is just amazing. And she was driven insane by this behavior.
Yeah, because it doesn't compute.
And she was like, why did he say that stuff if he was just going to flake out on me? And the answer is that sometimes it just feels good to say that stuff.
Well, and I know that if I say that stuff, you will probably have sex with me.
And I was like, I'm sure that whatever he was saying, whatever he was communicating to you, it was true in that moment for him.
I just wrapped up the current season of Love is Blind. There was this one guy who literally they did like a side by side. He told 2 women the exact same things, like word for word. It was a script. And he was saying,
right,
I want to meet your dad because I want to get that cleared before you agree to marry me. And like literally the same things to both women.
When you meet a guy who's really slick like that, it is a script, right? Because he's done this a million times.
He's written it down.
It's like Groundhog's Day. He has had a date with a woman and he said, hey, I'm going to be super honest. I'm really only looking for sex. I think you're hot. We should do this. And then she left. And so the next time he said, this is serious. I really want to meet your dad. And then she stayed. Like
he learned. He figured out the formula.
And related to this, a conversation that I have a lot with girlfriends is they meet men online and they are shy about asking or don't want to ask about monogamy, but they say, don't you think if we're spending 3 out of 7 nights together and he has a toothbrush at my house and he walks my dog for me sometimes, don't you think monogamy is implicit?
I thought that in my experience. I remember I even was explicit about it in my last few relationships. And so I said, hey, just like FYI, I'm not on the apps anymore. And he said, oh yeah, I got off of those, weeks ago. And I thought that meant he was interested in a monogamous relationship with me. That is not true.
In your case, what did he mean?
What he meant was, I'm not going to claim you on social media. I'm going to keep you a secret. And I'm going to have these weird parallel relationships with 3 different women.
Like just on this topic, like unless he tells you specifically with his mouth, but you have to ask, are we monogamous? Like up until your wedding day, like you can be walking down the aisle
even after
and say, we've been married for a year. This seems pretty serious. Are you off the apps?
And when I say off the apps, what I actually mean is, are you pursuing any kind of relationship or affair partnership at all? Are we committed and monogamous? We could be married for 40 years and you still have to check it out.
There was a scenario in the book where it was excuses for infidelity. An excuse the guys were using was like, well, things weren't going that good between the two of us.
That means I start cheating on you, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we don't work on the relationship and try to make it better, do we?
And, the explication of that is like, yeah, even if things are like, you can communicate to a woman, hey, I don't feel good about where our relationship is, or you can write it down, or you can do a dance routine about it, or you can do a puppet show about it. Starting to sleep with someone else is not actually the solve. And you're not justified. This book also was written before the concept, the term of ghosting occurred. And of course, people have been getting ghosted for centuries. It happened to Miss Havisham.
And that was just last week.
Do you know how old Miss Havisham was supposed to be in that Great Expectations?
I thought it was like 85, no?
30. The wrinkled up crone who dies in a fire.
Covered in spider webs.
Covered in spider webs, who dies in a fire because her moldering old dress catches fire. She's 30. Yeah, this book came about before we were super casual about getting ghosted all the time. In this book, there's a couple women, saying like, this man stopped communicating with me after 3 months, 6 years, 45 minutes. I thought he was in the hospital. I thought maybe he had died. That's certainly something that happened to me. In my case, I thought he was in rehab, which he should have been. But these women are so frustrated and asking, can't I just ask him why? Or can't I get more information? And the tough love truth is you don't need more information.
You say that, but I don't know if that's actually true. Well, I want to know why. I want to know what this cowardly POS, how he made it okay in his mind to completely abandon me. Because there might be some merit to it. Maybe I did do something that was offensive to you, or just so that I can sleep at night. I want to know. This is going to surprise you, but this has happened to me.
What?
So we meet on the date. I thought incredible coffee date. It was really funny. We laughed. He seemed really interested. He was touching my hand throughout the coffee date. I was like excited about it, right?
Hand touching. That's hot.
And then he proceeds to spend the next week creating a fake relationship with me, where he's showing me pictures of his cat and talking to me about his family and doing all the things that you do with someone, which imply an interest in a long-term relationship.
And then you had one other date, right?
Yes. So we go on the second date. It's one of the best dates of my life because it involves margaritas,
and
Mexican
singing.
food, and singing. And it's also weirdly on Valentine's Day. So I brought him a Valentine because I thought, why the hell not? This man is acting as if he wants to marry me pretty much.
Right.
So we might as well. He gave me sheet music to prepare for our second date. Okay.
Wow.
I go to his house, which is very close to the Mexican restaurant. We play piano. He sings. I sing. It's magical. I make a video of it even.
Right.
And send it to all my loved ones because this is going to be my boyfriend, right? We make out. He seems very attracted to me. And then he says, well, I think I said, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to head home. And he said, I'll give you a ride. He gives me a ride. And on the ride home, his best friend is calling. So he puts her on speaker and we talk for 15 minutes.
Wow.
We get to my house. I say goodnight. He never calls me again. I wait for a week and I say, hey, I can't help but notice that you haven't responded to my messages and you're not reaching out. So just let me know what happened, please. And he does.
What did he say?
He said he was just feeling meh about me.
Right.
And our date.
Right.
Fair. Because I just want to know. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if it's a good reason. I just want to know what your reasoning is so I can move on.
This plays into another one of the big lies, I think, that women are programmed to blame ourselves. Like, you're like, what did I do? What is it about me?
Well, obviously it has to be something because if he liked me enough or whatever, I mean, I eventually came to the conclusion that I think I was a little bit too confident for him, honestly. Because at one point he said, and I thought he was complimenting me. He said, wow, you're really confident. I don't think it was a compliment.
Looking back, I think we're programmed to say like, oh, I'm texting him too much, or I made a lame joke, or like, but it doesn't matter why, right? Because this guy in particular, that's sociopath behavior. like to have an experience with you where in his mind, he's like, oh, this is not it. But go ahead and pretend that it's it because he doesn't like, he wants to have a fun time or he wants you to feel good or he wants you to like him. Most likely he wants you to like him. So he has to like overdo it. It's psychopath.
It's just bizarre. It was the weirdest thing. I think it's the weirdest situation I've ever been in terms of dating. Like I have never felt so off base with somebody. Right. It was bizarre. And so in the future, when I have rejected men, I give them a full compilation of the reasons and let them know because I think that's the right thing to do.
I did that for a while. I have done that. If there's something that I really think they can improve, I will do it. But also it's not my job to educate men or help them at all.
No, it's not my job, but I think it's common decency and respect. It's like, I know that you're a human being with feelings and I'm going to respect that. I just want people to do the same for me.
I do think that being ghosted, making vampires or zombies, like when it happens to you, you feel you have permission to do it to others. Like my roommate was ghosted by a guy she thought really like that it was really going well with. And she cried and she complained to me for weeks. And then she went on a couple of dates with a guy that she wasn't that into. It was funny. It was a guy who I'd gone on 2 dates with who told me, I'm not really feeling it. And I said, great. Thank you. Shake hands. And then later they connected and she asked, is it okay if I go out with him? I'm like, yeah, for sure. That is okay. Thank you for checking. So they had the opposite thing where he was super into her and she was not into him. And she's like, I think I'm just going to ghost him. I'm like, but it destroyed you when it happened to you.
See, I have the opposite reaction because it hurts my feelings so much. I don't ever want to hurt someone's feelings like that.
Right. Also this week, I've read a kind of contemporary book from 2010. Very funny, and I can't recommend it enough. Julie Klausner's I Don't Care About Your Band. And she mentions he's just not that into you. And the umbrage she takes with it is interesting. She's like, well, this is presuming that the guy is normal and mentally healthy and he knows how to behave. What if you're very interested in men who are emotionally damaged, who are feral, who've never had relationships, who generally don't know how to behave? And it was because at the time, she was torturing herself dating the mentally ill and a guy who lived under a foosball table.
I think this tells us that you don't need to be dating.
Right.
Well, and the beef that I have with this book is that it feels like the onus is kind of being put on women. He's just not that into you. I mean, to me, I never read the book because I thought that's such a rude title.
Right. But it's also a gift. If we accept that if he's already seen you and knows you and you've had an experience with him and he's not that into you, it's a gift to know that.
True. And also it should be something more like men are creeps. If they're ghosting you, don't date them. I mean, some way to make that a better title.
Well, guess what? If they're ghosting you, you're not going to date them.
Woman who's clearly not been zombied.
That's true. No, I hear what you're saying. I just think the core message of it is good, which is if you are in a bad situation, at least partially, because you have put up with mediocre treatment and you shouldn't. You're worth more than that. That's the core to me.
I think You're Worth More Than This should be the title of the book.
That doesn't move books off of shelves, sissy.
Well, yeah, because I think always dating books are written for women and they're always written with the idea that the woman has to improve. And that irritates me.
This is anti that. It never says you should have been thinner. You should have had nicer hair. You should have had those like $500 shoes. 100% not. This book is saying you bring who you are to the man. You witness who he is. If what you are is not good enough for him, you need to roll it on down the line because there is going to be a guy that is going to be taken by you.
Well, then the book should be called He Can Suck It.
I will talk to my comedy acquaintance, Greg Behrendt, about retitling it. If you don't like you, he can suck it.
I think it just works.
So I enjoyed it. I thought it was flawed, but funny.
Why did you think it was flawed?
He talks a lot about marriage and how everybody should want to get married. And because I don't want to get married, I kind of like thumbs down that in my mind. But people do. People want to get married.
Is marriage good for women? I think we should listen to this podcast episode and find out.
If you haven't listened to our episode, Is Marriage Good for Women? You should listen to it. And also Greg should listen to it. Although by all appearances, Greg has a beautiful marriage in our short conversation, he talked to me about how kick-ass his wife is. And this is when they've been together for 15 years and have raised 2 kids. Like, it's adorable.
You think it's going to work out?
It has so far been working. And then who knows about the rest of your life? But like, because of his relationship, the core of the book to me is he wants that for everyone. And I do think that's beautiful.
And that's where he and I agree. I want that for every woman. I want every woman to be in a relationship with a man who adores her. And I want her to feel cared for and important and like she doesn't have to sacrifice herself in order to have a relationship.
Another interesting point that he brought up in the book is, and this is just anecdotal, this is not scientific. Greg's not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Laura's a therapist. When women are like, oh, I was hoping he would change. He said, harsh truth. I have seen men change, but it's for new women. It's not for the woman he's already disappointed.
He's going to change for the woman he cares about. And I think that's the whole point of the book. He does not care about you. And that could be another working title. Don't date men who don't care about you.
I think that's a good message. Don't wait around for a guy fulfilling your needs to change. Don't try to mold yourself into the shape of the person that this guy, like he's a negative mold, like a Play-Doh cast that you're just like trying to mold yourself into to be the woman that he will treat correctly, that he will treat with kindness and with love. If you're not getting these things, get out. I think that's a healthy message, and I don't think it blames women.
I just think it's the title that I have beef with. And I have read excerpts from the book, and I do agree with most of the stuff that he's saying.
I'm not an evangelist, but I do think at the core, it's a good concept. Yes, I didn't read the book for years because I'm like, it seems simplistic and dumb. And it is simple.
New York Times bestseller, simplistic and dumb.
Laura, do you have any other final thoughts on this book?
I was really surprised to hear that he was on the Sex and the City. Crew. That's bizarre to me. That feels like a bull in a china shop situation. But it's interesting because, Cecilia Regina, 76, is still one of her favorite things to do is to kind of break down episodes of Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about the relationship between Carrie and Big and how Carrie is trying to pretend that she eats hamburgers. Right. And likes to slum it and hang out on the couch and listen to 70s yacht rock when that's not her at all. And she ends up marrying a man who just isn't into her. And she spends the rest of her relationship with him until he dies, trying to prove to him that she's worthy.
And she's an accomplished author. She has great friends. She's beautiful. She has an inexplicably expensive wardrobe. Why is the acquisition of this guy who is not that into her, like, why is this her like dream. Apex? Her dream. Her dream is to be with a man who she doesn't have much in common with and who is not that into her. I think that's a great question to ask. Why?
And I guess while we're asking why, the question that comes up for me regarding men is why would I even halfway pursue a lady who I'm not into? Like, what, so I can get free sex? Like, what's the benefit? What's wrong with you? Like, why do you want to spend your time with a woman you don't really respect? Like, I've seen this in my office a lot. I've had clients who are men who are dating women that they don't really care about or respect very much. I will say why, because your life is going away also while you spend time with this person that's not your person.
I think both genders will struggle with the something is better than nothing idea that, because even if you're not madly in love with the person, having sex is nice. Having someone to go to dinner with is nice. Having someone to take to parties is nice. Like, you're going to have enjoyable times.
Yeah, I guess I just don't feel that. Unless I'm like 100%, it's going to be a no for me.
Right. And that's also, I think, a new idea. If it's not hell yes, it has to be hell no.
Right. So, Virginia, if someone's trying to reach you on the interwebs, how could they hook up with your stuff?
Well, that sounds dirtier than it needed to be. You can find me at badinia.com, BADINIA. If you're in the Santa Cruz area, I'm doing shows in Santa Cruz and Oakland, April 5th and 6th. Please check my website for deets. You can also find me on TikTok on Badinia, and I wish you would. Laura, where can people reach out to you on the interwebs?
Well, they can find me at my website, lauraryan.org. They can also reach me at mysistersatherapist.com. Find out more about the show. Maybe buy merch
that we don't have.
We're designing it right now. If they want to send an email to me and or Virginia, you can email us at hello@mysistersatherapist.com. If you'd like to hire us to speak at your women's conference, mental health conference, leadership event, wellness event, women's retreat, educational seminar, or something else, you can email us, hire us at mysistersatherapist.com.
We're also appropriate for vegetarian or vegan festivals.
We're ready. I want to eat all the food and talk about women's rights at a vegan festival.
Right. Yeah, I will be performing at one on the 6th. Laura, this is the part of the show where sometimes we read a listener review. If you're listening to this podcast, if you listen to 2-3 episodes, you might think, oh, they don't want my review. And we don't just want stars, although we love stars. We want you to write something so we can read it and make you feel special. Laura, who are we making feel special this week?
Well, this week we're making Exmo in Exile feel special.
Okay.
In case anyone's wondering what an Exmo is, it's an ex-Mormon.
Which we are.
Which we are, yes. These ladies know their stuff. And I tell everyone that I meet to listen. I am so appreciative of your insights and ideas. I have more awareness about the challenges that women face every day. And I am truly sorry for all the problems that your father has created in your lives. Keep up the great work, and I will patiently wait until Thursday for every new episode. Thank you so much, Exmo in Exile.
We appreciate you. And we would like to close today with the immortal words, the eternally cogent words of Billy Ray Valentine, Capricorn.
We can make it, baby.
Me and you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.